Okay, we have been multiplying a binomial times a binomial and using the FOIL method. Well, we're going to talk about a couple of special cases when multiplying. Now, the first one here we have is the square of a binomial. And if you think back to the last video, we discussed what you couldn't do with the quantity x plus 1 squared. And what it said, what the answer to that was that you could not distribute the exponent. And this is why. We do not have a product of two numbers or a number and variable squared. We actually have the sum. In this case, we have the difference. So there's a shortcut you could think of when you are using the square of a binomial. And this is the shortcut. For either one of these, you square a, so you square whatever the first term is. So you square a. And then for the end of this trinomial, you would square b. So you do square a and square b, which is what a lot of people jump to and start doing. The one piece that you can't forget about is what falls in the middle. You actually take the two terms, a and b, and multiply them together and double it. So 2 times a times b. That's the middle term, and this is what a lot of people accidentally leave out. You do square a and square b, but you cannot forget to double the product of a and b. Now, it'll be a subtraction problem if you have subtraction inside the binomial. So here's a couple examples. X would represent your a, 4 would represent your b, so we would square x and we would square 4, so that gives us our first term and our third term. Then we have to multiply the two together. X times 4 gives me 4x, and then you have to double it because there's a 2 in front. So 2 times 4 would give me 8. The same goes with this for your subtraction example. So that's the square of a binomial. So before we move on to the other key concept, let's look at some examples of squaring a binomial. X plus 8 quantity squared. So we're just going to follow the rule. We square the x and we square the 8. That's our first and our third terms. And then we have to multiply 8 times x and double it. So 2 times 8 times x times 8. And so you just simplify those, and you get x squared plus 16x plus 64. Now in the last video we were writing this out. Since there's a 2 there, we would write out x plus 8 2 times. So you would have parentheses x plus 8 and then parentheses x plus 8, and then you could use the FOIL method, which still works here. This is just a faster way to simplify. It's like a shortcut. Alright, so let's look at this example. This is subtraction. This looks a little bit different because you actually have a 2m here instead of just x or just a. But you're still going to solve this just the exact same way. You just have 2m instead of a. So the same thing here. What rule can you use to simplify this product? Well, you're actually going to let the exact same rule. You're just going to let 2m be your a. So 2m gets squared, and notice it's in parentheses because all of that will be squared. And the 3 will be squared, which they forgot the 2 right here. There should be a squared on that 3. And then you have to multiply the 2m and the 3, so that's right here, and double it. So 2m squared would give me 4m squared. Then 2 times 2 times 3 gives us 12m. And then again, remember there's supposed to be an exponent here of 2. 3 squared is 9. And notice that there is a subtraction sign there in the middle, and that's the rule when squaring a binomial. Alright, so let's let you look at one. Try one. This is subtraction. So if you need to, think about, see if I can bring this off to the side here. Think about what the subtraction terms look like. Here's an example, and simplify this. Pause the video if you need to. Here are your answer choices. The correct answer is C, and here's your solution page on how you're going to solve that. Just break it apart into that general term, that shortcut, general form, and then simplify.
In this problem, you will apply squares of a binomial to find an area. A square outdoor patio is surrounded by a brick walkway as shown. What is the area of the walkway?
So basically, you've got this square patio, and then you've got this walkway going around, which also creates just a larger square. So what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to find the area of this big square here and take out the area that is the patio to figure out just this walkway that's going around the patio.
How do you find the area of the walkway? The area of a walkway is the difference of the total area and the area of the patio. Step 1. Find the total area of the patio and the walkway. Square the binomial x plus 6. Now simplify.
The area of a square is side squared, which is what they're using. So they took the side of, they're doing the entire picture here. They took the side and squared it using that squaring a binomial.
Step 2. Find the area of the patio. The area of the patio is x times x, or x squared. Step 3. Find the area of the walkway. Write an equation to represent the area. The area of the walkway equals the total area minus the area of the patio. Substitute in the areas you found. Group like terms by placing the x squared terms together. Then simplify. So the area of the walkway is 12 times x plus 36 square feet. Now it's your turn.
All right, so same basic principle here, but we want to find the brick walkway. The area of the patio, well, the length is still x times x, so the area would be easy. But what they haven't given you is the side of the larger square that's including the patio, and that's the first thing you're going to need to find the total area. Well, if this is 4 and this is 4, and from here to here is x, because that's what it tells me here, then I've got 4 plus the x that runs across the patio plus another 4. So this entire side here is going to be x plus 8. Okay, same thing going this way. You've got to add this 4 plus the x going across plus another 4. So this side is going to be x plus 8. So here are some answer choices to choose from. Find the area of the walkway. So solve it exactly the way they just did the last problem. Now your correct answer is B. And here's the solution page to this on how to go about solving this. And again, you have to make sure you can find the side of your total area, which was x plus 8. You square it to get the total area. Then, of course, you simplify that and then subtract out the area of the patio, which was x squared. X times x was x squared. So that's where you get the 16x plus 64. Now, the last key concept we need to look at is the product of a sum and difference. So this pretty much is it's exactly what it says there. You're multiplying an addition problem and a subtraction problem, and that's what you have. These look identical. The A's are the same, the B's are the same, just one's addition and one's subtraction. And what happens with that is if you were to use the FOIL method, your outer and inner terms actually eliminate each other. So you're just left with the first and the last. So basically you just multiply the A's together, multiply the B's together, and it's a subtraction problem because a negative times a positive is a negative. So just looking at an example here, x times x is x squared, and 2 times negative 2 is negative 4, and that's it. Now the binomials have to be identical, except one's a sum and one's a difference. So let's look at an example of that.
In this problem, you will find the product of a sum and difference. What is a simpler form of the quantity x cubed plus 8 times the quantity x cubed minus 8? Write the original product. X cubed plus 8 times x cubed minus 8. How do you choose which rule to use? The first factor in the product is the sum of x cubed and 8. The second factor is the difference of x cubed and 8. So, use the rule for the product of a sum and difference. A plus b times a minus b equals a squared minus b squared. Identify which terms correspond to a and b in the rule for the product of a sum and difference. A equals x cubed and b equals 8. Substitute for a and b in the rule. Now simplify. The product of these binomials is x to the 6th power minus 64.
So basically you're just squaring x cubed. You just square the first term because they're exactly the same. And you square the second term because they are also exactly the same. And the rule is always subtraction because a negative times a positive, like I said earlier, is a negative. All right, so I want you to try one.
Now it's your turn.
This one's a little bit easier than the example that they did, but multiply these using the correct rule. Here are your answer choices. If you were to use FOIL method on this, you do get the same answer. It just takes a little bit longer because you've got extra terms there that you don't actually need, but they do simplify out. The correct answer for this is A. Here's your answer page. You just they actually use FOIL method here to show you, but x times x is x squared, x times negative 9 is negative 9x, 9 times x is positive 9x, and 9 times negative 9, negative 9 squared basically. But what you do is you lose your outer and inner terms, so there's no need for those. You just square the first term, square the last term, and you get your answer.